Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to Makeup with Mrs. Miller. I am Andrea Miller, aka Mrs. Miller, and today I'm super excited to do my second video, and I'm going to be working with some of my favorite products that are mostly like more high-end or influencer brands, but there's a few drugstore thrown in here, and I'm going to be playing with a palette that I have not touched in a long time. And I am very excited to play with this for a nice, fun summer look. So if you are ready to see a little bit of color today, then go ahead and keep watching. Alright, so to go ahead and get started, I have my primer. And so for my primer today, I'm going to use the Smashbox Photo Finish Super Light Smooth and Blur Primer. It's a mouthful. It says the claims on here: this lightweight primer smooths, perfects, and preps skin for makeup application. It blurs flaws and creates a soft focus finish. It's water-based, oil-free. It's for oily and combination skin, which is kind of like what I have pretty much. And so all you do is I've already washed my face and put moisturizer on, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this. You don't want too much. That's probably good, probably a little too much. I'm going to rub that in and warm it up. And I'm going to apply it mostly where I have my large pores, since that's really what this is for, but I will spread it out throughout the rest of my face. So I pretty much have very, very enlarged pores, where most people have them, which is right here on my cheeks and like my T-zone area, on my nose, and things like that. So this, I've used this for a while. I use this for my wedding as well, and it does well enough now. So I definitely recommend this one. So I've applied my primer, and I'm going to let that sit. And if you watched my first video, you know I'm messy. So I always, unless I'm just doing like a wash of color on my eye and walking out the door, I always do my eyes first. And since I'm going to be playing with color today, we're definitely going to start there. So let me go ahead and put primer or conceal my eyes. I'm going to be using, and I'll use this on my face later, this is the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. It is in the shade Light 1 Chantilly, however you want to say it. I love this concealer. This is a new find for me, and I really, really love it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that on each eye, and I do this to help correct my coloring on my skin, so that it doesn't, the colors, all look very uniform together, and it's not patchy. You can't tell a difference. And then that way it will also help it stick better and adhere to my eye. And also, if you watched my first video, you will know this is my problem eye. It leaks water. It's been like watering all day. I was very hesitant on doing this eye look, but I don't care. I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. So I have a sort of damp sponge. I am using the Blinged Brushes and Paige Corin collaboration, which I actually just got a new one in the mail. These are her sponges, and I absolutely love them. They are very, very soft and bouncy, and in this set you have a regular teardrop one, which is what I was using. You have a diamond shaped one, and then you just have your one that has the flat edge, which really helps you with, baking, if you do any baking and things like that. So that's my new set. So I'm using my older one. I just don't want to dirty them up. Like when you get them new, they're so pretty. You don't want to destroy them. But you know what? I'm going to have to soon, because I need to throw away some sponges. So I look a little crazy right now, but that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to look crazy before it all comes together. So with my eyes all concealed and ready to go, I'm now going to take just a teeny tiny bit of setting powder just to set that down, so if it's still wet, the eyeshadow doesn't cling to it and create patches, because we don't want that. So this will just help it from creasing and making your eyeshadow look patchy. So I'm going to be using my Jeffree Star Cosmetics. This is his setting powder, and I'm using it in the shade Fair. I'm just trying to get rid of it. I've had it for a long time. So I'm going to just put a little teeny tiny bit into my cap, not very much, like literally that much. And I'm going to take This is technically a blush brush, but I use it to set my eyes. So I'm going to just take it. This is an e.l.f. Cosmetics brush. Wow, I can't talk. And I'm just going to pat that on my eye. You don't really need a ton. This is just to prevent it from the creasing and things like that. So I'm just going to pat that there, and then I'll do the other eye. And you could use a smaller brush. This is just what I also use to set in my under eye, which I'll do later. Ooh, which reminds me, before I forget, since that step's done, I'm going to go ahead and use my Jaclyn Cosmetics under eye primer. So here's the thing, guys. I am a die-hard Jaclyn Hill fan. So if you're watching this and you're literally like, who's Jaclyn Hill? You know what, that's fine. Go check her out. Love her. If you watch this and you know who she is and you're like, here we go, she's one of those girls. You know what? I am one of those girls. I am one of those girls. I am a die-hard Jaclyn Hill fan. I watched her videos. I literally spent like an hour and a half yesterday watching her old, like OG, like 8 years ago YouTube videos and the tutorials. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like she has just come so far. And I don't care what drama there used to be like 3 years ago or whatever it was, or the things that she had done in the past. Everybody has a past, you know what, it is what it is. But like just watching her now, you can just see how happy she is, and she's just doing amazing things. So, you know, Jaclyn Hill, if you're watching this, doubt it, but if you are, I'm one of your OGs. So I'm going to be using, this was one of her launches with her Prep and Set collection, I believe, which now I think is 3 launches ago. She's constantly launching. I love it. But this is her Jaclyn Hydrating Under Eye Primer. And this is supposed to hydrate your under eye so that it just looks more awake and smooth. And what I love about it, what I really love about it, is it has a metal applicator, and then this is used, it's called like a cooling tip, and you use cooling things like if you've ever taken like eye patches and put them in the freezer and then put them on your eye, or if you use like the little roller, those are to help like depuff your eye. So this is essentially like that with this metal cooling tip, and then the product, the actual primer, goes on. I'll just show you. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good. It's very, very cooling. Like definitely, like even if you're not wearing any makeup, I just love it because it like really wakes you up. So now that that's done and I've primed my lids and my under eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and open up this palette. I'm very excited. I have all my other products here. Let me move those out of the way. Okay, so this is the Violet Voss Flamingo eyeshadow palette. I want to say I got this 4 years ago, maybe. This is an older palette. Let me show you. It's beautiful. Very, very summery. Definitely a summer palette. All of these colors. So you have like a more burnt orange, corally color. You have all these beautiful aqua blues. You have oranges and yellows, some pops of pink. I love this one pop of purple. Absolutely love it because purple's my favorite. And then you just have a standard matte black just to darken and smoke things out. And then you have a nice size mirror as well. So we're going to go ahead and try a look today. I have no idea what I'm going to do, so this will be interesting. But I'm going to go ahead and start with my beloved bling brushes. So I have those here, and I've already mentioned before, I never start with the first brush as a bling brush. I use my Jeffree Star and Morphe collaboration brush. This is the JS8. It's just such a good blending brush, and I don't want to mess up my process. Like this is how the good eye starts, okay? So I'm going to start with the color Sand, which is, no, not sand. Yeah, sand. This one right here literally just looks like sand. So I'm going to take that and just kind of use that to also set my eye again, and also use as a transition. It's not really going to have any pigment. Again, this is just like a base. Now I'm going to take that same brush and I'm going to, what do I want to do today? There's so many choices. I think I'm going to start with Sunbathe right here. It's like golden brownish mustardy, like dark mustard color, kind of orangey, I don't know. It's a nice color. So I'm gonna start with that. Just gonna dip my brush in, tap off the excess, and I'm gonna use this mirror. I'm really trying to get into this handheld mirror thing. I'm used to just not worrying about that, but now that I'm making videos, I don't want to like be up here and you only see one side of my face. I'm really trying to work on that. It's a struggle. So I'm just going to take that and put that in my crease and just really blend it out. It's really all about the blending, and the more I've done this, the more I'm like, okay, I understand why everyone says it's all about the blending, because it really is. Like, you can have a beautiful eye look, beautiful colors, like you've spent hours on it, but if you don't blend it, it's going to look so harsh, and just, we don't want that look. I don't want that look. I mean, if you want it, do it. You do whatever makes you feel beautiful. That's what it's about. So I'm just taking this, and I'm going to start buffing that up to the brow bone, because I have such small eyes. I really bring my eyeshadow pretty high, probably like way too high, but since I have tiny eyes and then I wear glasses so that you can see, I don't have my glasses in here, but so that you can actually see all my hard work, I like really go up there, because otherwise you don't see it. Perks of wearing glasses, I guess. I don't know. So I'm just blending, blending, blending. I'm bringing it out to the edge and like fanning it out. Okay, so you can see that there. So I'm going to quickly do that on the other eye, and we'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have both eyes with that Sunbathe shade, I am going to still use this brush, and I'm going to take Popsicle. I'm going to do some Popsicle right here. No, yes. This one right here. This is a much more orangey shade. Kind of like a brown toned orange. I'm just going to take a little bit on my brush, tap off the excess, and I'm going to go right back into the crease, but I'm going to place it directly in the crease, so it's not going to go up as that first shade did. And this one, you're going to take a lot of time just building up that pigment and doing windshield wiper motions. Like right in that socket, like you're literally like stabbing it into the socket. Okay, but not stabbing, you know what I mean. So I'm gonna just keep taking that and going back and forth in that crease. And then I'll slowly start bringing that into my inner corner here. Or not inner corner, but like my outer corner rather. And just stamping that on just to build that shade up. And then I'm just going to take anything that's left on the brush, and I'm just going to buff that up into the first shade. Just so it's not first shade and then clearly just the second shade. So there's like that seamless, like line. There's not a line, so it's more seamless. And if you get crazy and messy, it's okay. I'm very, very messy with my eyeshadow, which is why I always do it first. So then I can clean it up with concealer and things like that after. So I'm doing that on the other eye. This eye is much harder for me to do. My eye doesn't like to stay shut. I don't know. I have so many problems with my eyeballs. I need to get it together. Okay. So like as you can see, I kind of went a little crazy over here on this side, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to put this brush to the side now. And now I'm going to use my bling brushes. So now I'm going to take, I guess I'll bring out my clean one. So this is the Blinged Brushes and Paige Corin collaboration. And this is the E21. So it's a blending brush, but it's a little more of a defined crease blending brush. A little bit smaller. So now I'm going to take, I think now I'm going to take Sandals, which is the darkest, like definitely much more brown, like a brick red brown type color right here. I'm going to take this, whoops, I'm just going to get a very, very little, like I have that, I'm going to tap that off so it's not as much. So now it's more like this, and it's not a whole bunch of pigment, because when you do, the darker you do your shades, the less you want to use, because if you go on and it's too much, like, it's gonna take a long time to save that look. So less is more, and you can always build it up, but you can never take it out. So we're gonna take this, and I'm going to put that right here on my outer corner, and I'm just going to pack that right there. I'm just packing. We'll blend in a moment. So I have that first one packed in. I'm going to grab a little more. I'm going to keep packing. I'm going to bring it in to my lash line. Again, not blending yet. Just a little bit more. Alright, so at this point, you can tell a difference. This one's much more darker in the corner than this one. So now I'm going to take the same brush with that product left on it, and I'm just going to buff that in and blend it into the crease. I'm going to flick it out just a little bit. Alright, so now that both eyes are done, this one's just going to keep getting messy because I've brought it way down here now, and that's okay. So now I'm going to take that same brush that still has that product on it. It's not a big deal. And I'm going to, no, I'm not going to do that. I lied. I'm going to take a different brush because that's the darkest shade in the palette other than the black. And black is not my friend. I don't do a lot with black. It's just very intimidating to me, but I'm going to try it and do it for the camera. So I'm going to take a teeny tiny, like flatter, I'm not sure, probably more of a packer brush. This is the E7 from the, I believe this is the silver collection of blinged brushes, and I've already used this for like blacks before, so I'm just going to take teeny tiny bit of the black shade called Sunny's right here. I'm going to take just a very minuscule amount. I'm going to tap it off so I don't have too much, because with black you really can't save it if you put too much on. I mean, you can, but it's a lot of work. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to place that right in that outer corner and along the lash line, just very, very carefully. And I'm not blending anything yet. It's literally just going to look like a black dot on that outer corner. And it's okay. And then now I'm going to start carefully blending. You can see the difference. It makes it much more smoky. Going to add a teeny tiny bit more. Pack that in. Okay. Ooh, this is scary stuff. So now I'm going to go back in with that original brush that I used for that shade Sandals, the darker color. And I'm going to take a little bit more of that. And then I'm just going to kind of blend these two together. Kind of buff them out so it's not so harsh. And I can tell just a little bit it's getting a little patchy right there, but this eye, because I think it's because it waters, I do have like a legit line on my eye, like almost like a little indentation, and so I do get some eyeshadow patching there. I'm just going to put a little more black there just to help that, like so. I know it looks intimidating. We'll fix it, I promise. I have to fix it or it'll drive me nuts. Okay, so I'm just going to keep blending with that Sandals shade, blending that out. Okay, so I know it looks like a lot, but remember, we're going to clean all of this up, so it's not going to be like I have a black eye, you know. So I'm just going to keep blending. I'm going to kind of mix the Sandals, so I'm going to mix all three of those like orange colors together. And just keep going back and forth. It's all about the blending, guys. And if you don't want to use black, you don't have to. I just didn't want to have to get out another palette. I was trying to just stick to this palette. But you could do like a darker brown, which is kind of what I wanted to do rather than black, but it is what it is. But you could do a darker brown just to give it a little more of that smokiness, that smoky look. Or if you don't want it to look smoky, you could have just stuck with the 3 shadows that I used to begin with and just kind of built each one up for that extra definition. Okay, so I'm going to stop this eye and I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye off camera, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to put on the lid, and then I'll show you how to clean it up so it's not so in your face. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I know I'm looking crazy. That's okay. So now to finish off the lid, so I have kind of just a mess right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let's go in with this shade. How about we go in with the shade Pineapple? That's this shimmery shade right here. It's a yellow shimmer. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to use my finger. I talked about this in my last video. I always use my finger for my shimmers. It just gives much more of like a pigmented punch. Ooh, and these are so buttery. I mean, look at that, guys. Look at that. Amazing. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just put this right here in the inner third of my eye on that lid. And I'm going to use this mirror so I'm not like flaking it everywhere. And if you get a little fallout, it's normal for shimmers. I have no fallout. Like, I know I have a mess under here, but that's just because of my blending. I don't actually have fallout. And fallout, if you don't know what that means, that's when you apply shades and it like falls down below. It doesn't stick to your upper eye. And sometimes that's scary because if you already have your base done, then you have like, you know, black shadow down here, and that's, you know, not the look. So that's why I always start with my eyes first. So I'm just building that up. And since I don't have any nails right now, I had fake nails for my wedding, which, ugh, I hate fake nails. Like, they're so beautiful, but I have a love and hate for them. So I took those off, and now my natural nails are very short, and I'm used to very long natural nails. I can't talk. Okay, so I have that very beautiful yellow shade, and you will see that it's very patchy right there, but that's because I'm not done. Okay, so I'm going to do that same thing. Look at this, guys. Look at it. Now I'm going to go in and to like blend this so it's not super choppy, and I have black, orange, and then yellow. I'm going to then take, let's see, I'm going to take this shade Island right here. This is like a shimmery orange coppery color. I'm going to take a little bit of that on that same finger. Ooh, so soft. So soft. Oh, I have a fuzz. It's not good. Okay. So this one is a little more chalky than that first one, but I mean, it still should be fine. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right here and just kind of blend that in between the yellow and the black and the orange. This one's a little more, this one has definite fallout, but that's okay because we can clean it up. So I'm just mixing those two shades together more in the center of my eye. You can see it's, compared to this eye, it is not so stark, like vibrant yellow, and I'm just blending that together just by using my finger. And you will see I'm starting to lose some of that smokiness. We're going to touch that up. Not a big deal. I'm just going to take it up to the socket, basically, right there in my crease. Just like that. So I'm going to do that on the other eye. So then I'm going to take my little brush that I had the black on. I'm just going to dab very gently into that. And I'm just going to smoke that out just a little bit more. It's going to look a little crazy. It's okay. I just want it to have a little more smokiness. And build that back up. And I'm going to take that other brush that had the sandal shade on it, and I'm just going to rebuff that just carefully so I don't mess up those shimmers. And if you end up doing too much black, I just always go back into that first, like, or the second darkest shade. And I just go back and forth in that crease, and you can always add your shimmer back. It's really more of a process of building and building. Then you put more product on, and it takes away from another, and then you have to build up that other color. I know it's a lot, but it also really depends on the shadows themselves. And I am not a pro at this, so like, this is scary for me to be doing this because I'm like, I don't know if that's really, if I'm really telling people what it's right, but you know what? This is what I think is right, and I'm going with it, you know? Just gonna go with it. And then I'm gonna go back in with that Island shade. And then I'm gonna mix in that yellow. And apply that back there in the center. And it's gonna look weird. Lashes is what brings everything together. Although I don't wear false lashes because my eyes, I'm a baby. I'm just a baby, guys. It's fine. I don't care. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that away because I think I'm done with that for now. And then here's what I have. Very messy, not cute yet, but that's yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean up the edges. You can do a couple different things. You can use a makeup wipe, which is what I'm gonna do today. You can use a Q-tip and the micellar water, and you can clean that up as well. You could just take concealer and you could clean those edges up. It doesn't matter which way you do it because they all do the same thing. So it's just whatever you have on hand. I'm gonna get it under my eye there. And yes, I know I put that under eye primer on. This shouldn't wipe that away too much since I'm not doing like harsh wiping motions. And it should already be like set into my skin anyway. Okay. So as you can see, that softened it up and cleaned it all up. I always struggle with making sure I get like the same angle on each eye. It's very hard for me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm just going to soften out that edge. I got this from Allie Glines. She's a wonderful, like lovely beauty YouTuber. She's just so sweet and seems so genuine. So I'm just going to do that, and that's just pressing that so it's not like that streak line, and doing it like that. So then I'm going to take, I have a little bit of shimmer there. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and put on mascara. So I'm going to use, just on my top lashes, I'm going to use drugstore, and because I have zero high-end mascara, I only just do drugstore. When I use high-end, I want it to be for like foundation, concealer, highlighter, eyeshadow palettes, anything like that. Mascara, like the drugstore has amazing stuff. Like I don't think you need to go spend $30 on a mascara because the ones that I use, I think they're worth it. So this is the Maybelline New York Lash Sensational Luscious, and it's in a black packaging. And this is the wand. Looks like this. Oh, look at that. I'm making messes. So, it's a little more of a flexible wand. It's not a super stiff wand, and it's kind of in between a dry and wet formula. So I'm going to apply this just to my top lashes. I'm going to have to use an actual mirror, guys. Gonna have to. So I'm just putting that on my top. I forgot to curl my lashes. Is what it is. It's not an everyday step for me, so I have to learn to get into that habit. So I'm just putting on that coat, and I'm going from the base, from root to tip. A lot of people just do, like, they just coat the lash and they don't get all the way down into like the root where it's connected to your waterline on top. But I mean, this is good stuff, guys. So that is that, and I was gonna do eyeliner today. Ooh, eyeliner scares me. I haven't used it in so long, but because I don't wear false lashes, I don't typically apply eyeliner anymore, which I thought was insane because I wore eyeliner every day. It was the one thing I can never not wear. And then I stopped wearing it because somebody, I think it was Allie Glines' YouTube channel, was like, she doesn't wear eyeliner either. And it just makes my natural lashes pop so much more because it's not behind a black, like a black line's not behind it. So it just makes my lashes pop so much more because I don't wear false lashes. So that for now is my finished eye look. So now we're going to go ahead and head to the base. I'm going to be using the Nars Soft Matte foundation. I have been loving this. I also wore this on I mixed this with the Estee Lauder Double Wear, which is like a huge cult classic. I'm going to take a little bit of this This is a very, very runny, very thin formula. And then I'm also going to mix in a little bit of, like I said, this was my foundation today is a little more bougie. It's running off my hand, so that's the foundation. And I'm going to add a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. This is like, it's on a like dofa applicator. And what this does is this has a more shimmery, it's not actual like shimmer reflex or anything in there, but it's a little more like dewy and like shimmery. And I mix that with a lot of my foundations, and I just take my sponge and I just mix them together, so it gives me more of that dewy look, especially for the summertime. That's the trend. So there is my hand. So now I'm going to take this and just dot it, and I'll flip it over to the butt of the beauty blender, or this is not a beauty blender, but you know what I mean. And I will need to use some more, and that's fine. So I'm going to add a little bit more foundation on my hand because it's all absorbed into my sponge. I'm going to take that and I'm going to start applying this and doing that full beat look. And I love this foundation because it has medium to full coverage. It's very, very smooth. Oh, see? I don't know if y'all see this, but there's water dripping down my nose from my eye. We're already there. So, anyway, this has a very smooth finish, and it's definitely worth, I think this is like $34, $38. It might be more. I know it's not more than $48 because I've never bought anything other than maybe that Flawless Filter is the most expensive foundation I ever have owned. I really try not to buy over like $40. But anyway, it's very, very good. It has a very natural finish. Like kind of, you can still see your like blemishes a little bit unless you want to build it up. But I like that look. It's not as full glam, as they say. I'm going to put the rest on the other side. I'm just really blending that in. I can definitely tell it's filling in those pores with that primer. Like, that primer is amazing. I can tell a difference just between my natural skin. And I have this little guy. Hormonal acne is something. It is something. Just gonna get in there, bring it down. I always used to like just do my face and not like bringing it down here. And I always remember growing up, my mom would be like, "You have a line on your face." I was like, "No, I know everything. I have no line." I had lines. And I never knew anything about shade matching back then either. So it was very much a line. Oh, how times have changed. Alright, so I'm going to take just a little more. This is such a thin foundation, so I know it looks like I'm using a lot, but it's so thin that like you have to use quite a bit. So, I mean, I guess that could be a downside if you would rather not use this much product, but that's totally up to you. And I don't ever put any on my nose until the nose until the very end, since I have a lot of separation issues with any of my foundations on my nose, just because it starts out super dry and looks gross, and then as my natural oils come throughout the day, then it just starts to separate. So then I have dry patchiness separating all over my face, and it looks gross. So I know the lights, I think, are kind of washing me out. I need to adjust. I'll do that in a second, but I promise I'm not like as white as it appears that I am right now. Alright, so now I'm going to take whatever is left on my sponge. I'm going to take that, and I'm just going to get my nose, because like I have a very red nose. Yay me. So I'm going to use whatever's left to cover it up, but I don't want to use too much since I wear glasses, and then it rubs and gives me that lovely, lovely, lovely line. So just a little bit. And like on this, like I literally don't look dry. I love this foundation because it doesn't make me look dried out. It definitely brings some like hydration. And since I use that Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, it also really helps with that like hydration look. So my skin looks more quenched rather than a desert, you know? No one wants a desert face. No one wants a desert face, you know? Those are things we say. We're going to move on to concealer. And I'm going to use that Nars Radiant. So this is like the duo here is the two Nars products. So I'm going to use the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. And I'm just going to put a teeny tiny bit of this right there on the inner corner. And then I'm going to just draw a line up. And do the same thing over here, just a little bit. Draw that line up. And then just highlight my face. I'm going to put a little bit here. And then I'm going to do swipe up there, and I'll put a teeny tiny bit on my nose. I don't do much with my nose. Oh, that's a crooked line. I don't do much with my nose just because, again, like I said, I wear glasses, so there's really no point. So I'm just going, I don't think there's a point. So I'm just going to blend that out. Just like so. And then this just highlights my T-zone and brightens up my face. And I'm going to switch it to the point of my sponge and just really get in there. Ooh, I can tell this eye is mad at me. It's starting to separate my foundation. And I promise that's not like, I probably shouldn't have put mascara on. Oh well. It's not the foundation, that's just my eyeball being stupid. So if you have a stupid eyeball too, we're part of the same party. So there are my under eyes. So now very quickly I'm going to take my setting powder again. I'm going to use that same blush brush, and I'm going to set my under eyes so that it doesn't end up creasing and causing issues. And especially since I have that one watery eye, I want to make sure this is nice and set in place. So I'm just going to do a little bit of powder. One thing with this Jeffree Star stuff, it is very scented. It's kind of got like a banana-y cake type scent. I don't know. Some kind of scent is in here. I'm just going to set those under eyes. And this is literally just to make it kind of last all day. And then I learned this while watching one of my old school Jaclyn videos I haven't seen in a long time. What people call baking, when you take a bunch of this, which I will probably do on my lower half of my face, but that baking is because like you're basically making your face in that area bulletproof is why you do that. So like it literally can handle anything that day. Anything. So we'll see if that really works. So there is that. So now I'm going to head back. Actually, I'm going to switch over to my big blinged brushes, powder brush, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this and just kind of, I'm trying to break the habit. You don't want to swipe, because you don't want to swipe away your foundation. You want to like pat it in, really stipple it on there. It's a habit I'm trying to break, because I definitely notice that when I do that swiping motion, it does take away some of my foundation. And we don't want that. That defeats the whole purpose, you know? So I'm going to set just all over the perimeters of my face. My nose. I don't set a lot of my nose just because that also helps it look dry, and I don't want that. But I also know I get oily there, so I have to like do a little bit. And we're going to go over to my favorite. So I'm going to bring out some of my Jaclyn Cosmetics stuff. So this is all of her new stuff that she's recently launched in like the last 6 months. So I'm going to take, to bronze my face, I'm going to take the Jaclyn Cosmetics blush and bronzer duo. And I have mine in the shade Sun-Kissed and Bronze Moment. It looks like this. Very beautiful, very nice packaging. It's a baked bronzer and blush. These are made in Italy, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to take, this is a small powder brush, but I use it for bronzer. This is my Blinged Brushes F23. I'm going to take a generous amount of this, tap that off, and I'm going to do it from the top of my ear down, and instead of doing like a curve, I'm going to do like a harsh streak line. This is going to help you have that more lifted look if you want your face to look slimmer and more lifted, which I'm always trying to get a slimmer face, and I am no pro at this. And yes, everyone makes funny faces when they do bronzer and mascara and eyeshadow and all the other things. So I'm just going to keep blending that. You can see the hollows of my cheeks there. So now I'm going to take a little bit more and I'm going to put it all the way up into my hairlines, up on my forehead, and this is where the sun would naturally hit you if you were outside. So you put a little bit of bronzer there just to darken things up and also help slim your face down some. So if you have a larger forehead and you don't like that, you can slim it down by using the bronzer, and it will help it look less. It'll help you look less, you know? Okay, so I'm just going to add some more into your hairline, and you want to make sure you get up there in that hairline so that it's not like clearly part of your hairline is really, really white or lighter than the rest of your forehead. And you want this part of your forehead to be more white because I was highlighting it there, like I specifically highlighted it. Yes, highlighted it. I want to say highlight it, but that's not a word. That's not a word, Andrea. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring that in circular motions. Just bring that down, make sure everything is well blended. Like I said, I'm still learning how to use bronzer correctly. You do whatever you want. Okay, so there is my bronzer. This is a very easy bronzer to use, and you can always go back and add more if you would like. So I'm going to leave that there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the baking portion. So instead of using my Jeffree Star setting powder, I'm going to use the new Jaclyn Cosmetics Brightening Light Banana powder, under eye powder. This is under eye powder, and she also says you can use it to bake, and she's a very heavy baker, but not cookies. I mean, I don't know if she bakes cookies, but she bakes your face. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to take a teeny tiny amount. This is very pigmented, so I'm going to take just a little bit. I don't need a ton. I'm going to use my beauty sponge, but I'm going to use a different one. I want to use the one that has that flat edge. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to coat that sponge. And I'm just going to start from my ear and swipe it, pack it down, just like so. So this, once I buff that away in a couple minutes, this will really help carve out my face and really, really help with that. Having a slimmer, oh, I need more powder, having a slimmer look, which is what I'm always going for, you know? So I'm just going to take a little bit more powder and you don't have to bake for a long period of time. It used to be like to get the maximum like effect, like 10 to 15 minutes, but like you don't have 10-15 minutes every single day to bake, so you can just do what I call a light bake and just do that. I'm going to bring this here just like so, like that. So then I'm going to take whatever is left and I'm just going to put that on my under eye. And I did say this is very pigmented, so this will definitely brighten that under eye a lot. If you don't want that look, then you can just skip this step, and you don't have to use this powder. That's with any powder. This one's just very, very pigmented, and she does say that in like all of her videos using this product. But if you want that more bright-eyed, I'm awake look, like right now I look crazy, like dark here and then like really white everywhere else, but it's gonna go away. So I'm gonna put that back, and then what I'm going to do is, while I'm waiting for that to finish baking, I'm gonna go back to my eyeshadow palette and I am going to use this. I'm just gonna take a smaller brush, probably this one. This is my E25, and I'm just gonna go into that Sunbathe, that lightest orange shade that we used, and I'm going to just drag that across the lower lash line and just kind of smoke this out a little bit. And for me on this side, I don't do this often because since the eye waters, I end up wiping this away, and then one eye looks good and the other eye looks like I didn't do anything. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that, really bring it in, connecting it to the top, to that black orange there. And I'm going to take a teeny tiny pencil brush. This is my E22, and I'm going to go in with that orange, or not orange, that yellow shade. We're going to just put that right in here, kind of connecting that yellow on the top into the lower lash line. And you don't have to do this. This is just me being extra. Just extra smoky. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big fluffy brush and I'm just going to wipe that bake away. Like so. Like I said, you don't have to do it for very long. It really does not matter. So, and then I'm going to just take that up here as well. Just kind of blend all of that in together. And then the last couple of steps we have left, we're almost there. Thank you for hanging with me. We're going to go into our blush, which I'm super excited to use. We're going to use the Jaclyn Cosmetics Rouge Romance palette, which I love. I'm waiting for the orange one. I'm waiting to get paid so I can buy the more warm toned. I have the cool toned version. And this one's got more pinks, more pinky tones in this one. So I think it's the pinky tone one, pretty sure. So I'm going to take, and these are extremely pigmented. This is not for the faint of heart for sure. So I'm going to take my blush brush and I'm going to dip into probably the Fancy Pants with a teeny tiny bit of Tea Room, so the two more orange corally shades, and like a very tiny amount. And I'm just going to start pressing that in. I'm going to bring that up to my eye so I can connect that eye look with my blush. And then I'm just putting it right here on the back of the apples of my cheeks. And I love blush, so I always like a very obvious blush. So, there is the blush on this side. I love it. Like, I just want to keep adding more. Just want to add more. Let me add more. You can do whatever you want. If you want to have baby doll cheeks, have baby doll cheeks. No one can tell you not to. And if they say they don't like it, it's not their face. So now the last step, I'm going to take my Jaclyn Cosmetics. This is her, what is this? Her Luminous Powder. So I'm going to use this kind of as a highlight all over my face. This is supposed, she made this product, this is in the shade Do Me. She used this product to give you more of like, so when you set your face, you end up looking more matte. So if you want to bring that dewiness back, you can use this. And I just take this is Eco Tools, I don't know what brush this is, but this is an Eco Tools like fluffy brush. I just take a little bit of this, tap off the excess, and then I just go over my cheeks. And this just kind of gives you that glow from within. It's not super highlighty, but it does give you that glow. So if you want that more dewy look, you're not super matte. And so since I like that, I'm going to put that all over my face. Really just, I like to cover myself and highlight and shimmery things. You know, that's how I do life. More shimmer is the best. So that is my makeup look. So we're going to finish it off with our setting spray, which I did not grab again. So I'm going to grab a setting spray, and I'm just going to use my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. This is the mini. I was just trying to sample it because the whole thing, like the big bottle, is super expensive. So I'm just going to do a little bit. And so that I don't get any flaking or smearing of my mascara, I'm going to cover up my eye like this, just so I don't mess up my mascara. Just like so. I probably got that a little too close to my face, but you know what, it's okay. So I'm going to let that dry. I need to get one of those fans so I can have that to dry my face. So I'm just going to take my beauty sponge with that powder still on it, and just set everything down, make sure it's nice and blended onto my skin. I did not do my brows today because I don't like to do my brows. I just don't. I'm sorry guys. I just don't do them. Alright, so now that that's set down, we're going to take a step back and just check everything out. I straightened my hair before, and it takes a long time to straighten my hair. Like, it's already started to curl back up. But it takes about an hour and 15 minutes for me to straighten my hair since it's so naturally curly. So it's looking crazy right now, but you know what? I don't care. So this is the finished look. Woo, we're crazy. This is the finished look. I thank you guys for hanging in here. I know this is a long video. I'm going to try to figure out how I can shorten things up a little bit. But I really appreciate you being here and being a part of this with me. I'm super excited about it. Like, I am just so excited. So thank you for being here with me today and doing this very bronzy, colorful, but more neutral look as well. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!